Hello, everyone, and welcome to 100% You, a podcast which is all about discovering who you're truly meant to be and becoming the best version of yourself. I'm your host, Barbara, and I've been on the self development journey for the past 15 years and spiritual journey for the past 13 years. In today's episode, I'm going to talk to you about the 9 key principles that if you will start paying attention to those things, you will be much more connected to yourself in your everyday life and you feel like your highest version of yourself if you will do them all intuitively correctly. So, let's start with today's episode. There's something I realized that there's things that we can control and things that have a lot of impact about how we feel in our everyday life. And, for me at least, in order to feel the highest version of myself, I really want to pay attention to many different aspects in my life. But to do all of them at once can be very challenging and hard. So, the way I see these things is creating habits and create awareness about specific areas in our life that will help us to feel more like ourselves, more authentic, more like the best version that we ever can be. And I realized that in my life, I have 9 different areas that I do intuitively throughout the years. And all of these 9 components actually has a huge impact on my life, whether I notice it or not. But today we're going to discuss it all together. And if you're not aware of those things, I really hope that you will start be more aware of those things. And hopefully it also will help you too to feel like the best version of yourself. So let's start with the first one, which I believe is very obvious, but I'll take it to a different route. So, first thing is light. And we always say you need to go outside and be in the sun. And yes, we'll talk about this too, but I'm not talking only about the sun. Vitamin D is, I think I don't even need to talk about this, like how much important sun is it for own life. I can tell you about myself that I remember when I was in high school, that I was always depressed during winter. And there was one winter that I was very aware suddenly about my health and everything. And I decided to take vitamin D. And once I took vitamin D, it was the best winter I had in my entire life. And since then, I started taking vitamin D, or instead, just going much more and be in the sun outside. So, of course, this is one aspect, but I want to talk more about the light that we have in our own house, the light that we have when we go out, when we sit in restaurants, when we go to places, because we don't pay a lot of attention usually on the lighting we see. And especially in our own house, this is something that holds a lot of frequency that we don't even realize sometimes. And the more sensitive you are, the more it will affect you, even if you're not really aware of it. So I can tell you about myself that in the morning, I cannot wake up and see a lot of light, not natural, like not sunlight. Sunlight, I would love to see in the morning, the first thing to wake up and see sunlight. Perfect. But to turn on all of the lights in the house when I just wake up, it will ruin my day. And this is something that I learned the hard way, not like really the hard way, but like I learned it throughout the years that when I wake up, I cannot have all the lights in the house turn on because it will put me in a state that is not matching the energies that I need in the morning. The same thing when I go to sleep before bed. And I think it's very obvious, but do we actually pay attention to those kind of things in our everyday life? So if you're not, I started paying attention to to those things a while ago, like a few years ago. And I love playing around with lights. I like, different times of the day to turn half of the lights, then turn this lights and then this lights. And for me personally, I know that I need warm tone lights in the house. Otherwise, I will not feel my best. And if you're a sensitive person, you'll probably feel it too. But people that are less sensitive don't really feel it. And once you start to understand that every light, everything is frequency, you look at things differently. So if, let's say, for you, white light or gold light doesn't do well at certain types of the day, so make sure you just don't do it. And you know, eventually if you do this intuitively, so you are intuitive person and just like know that your body asks for something and you basically do whatever it tells you. So understand the lightning, how it works well for you, really key thing. And different times of the day, different lightning, but eventually it's everything frequency. And just notice what makes you feel your best. I know that if I'm around people when I just wake up, I ask them not to turn all the lights because it will literally ruin my day. Or the same before bed, like I cannot go to sleep when all of the lights in the house are turned on. I need to have like small lights, warm tone colors, and that's it. So everyone has their own things. So just pay attention to those things because it can actually change your mood. And I'll say something about everything that I'm going to talk here. So everything is basically connected to how it will make you feel. Okay. And when you feel good, you feel like your best, it changes the state that you are in. And to feel like the best version of yourself, you need to be in that state, the state that everything flows to you naturally. You're in this flow, in this rhythm. Okay. So, number two is diet. I think it's kind of obvious, but I do want to talk about this because I'm vegan, but I eat fish. So, like, vegan for the past 10 years, and I eat fish for the past 5, 6 years. And I eat plant based, and I started eating plant based very early on when I was 15, 16, even a little bit before that. And plain plant based is basically eating things that are not processed foods, not eating, all this sugars. Eat everything that is very natural from its like natural source. I don't eat products that are, finished products and then I buy and cook them. I cook myself a lot. So I like to buy a lot of vegetables, a lot of fruits, and to make my own meals at home. Many times we can buy dressing for salads and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes they're processed foods and they're not really healthy, although it's like a dressing for salad. So pay attention to what you eat. And the reason I'm saying this is because the way I see food and how to eat is that food gives me energy. And thanks to me having eating disorders when I was a teenager, it really opened my eye on how food should make us feel. And I don't understand people who eat food and go to sleep after that. They feel tired after eating the food. Now, I want you to understand what's happening in your body when you eat something that is less healthy and processed. Your body, every time it eats something or something happens to your body, it basically sends energy in order to process the food that you just ate. Now, whenever you eat something processed or not healthy for your body, what happens is that, first of all, you can get bloated and all of that kind of stuff, and it doesn't feel good. But especially when you eat foods that are not the type of foods that your body needs. But let's say you don't really know what your body needs and you eat just processed foods, sugars, whatever. You don't really know if you eat healthy, you think you eat healthy. What happens to your body? For your body, it takes a lot of time to process food. And instead of putting that energy that it takes to process, it puts on good things of like restore your cells in your body or keep you healthy and send it to good things. It keeps process the food that you just ate. So when you eat something and you feel tired afterwards, so your body, it takes a lot of energy, it consumes a lot of energy to just process this food. So you know it wasn't the best option for you. But what happened if you eat something healthier? So it shortened the time of processing the food, and now it goes to different areas of your body to restore your cells, to restore everything else. And the more you eat healthier, the more you are tuned to that like natural rhythm of making food as your fuel and not as poison, you will be more connected to yourself because it will be easier to listen to your intuition to make better decisions. Think of a time that you ate something and you were very tired afterwards. It will probably not be the best time for you to make decisions, to argue with people, to have difficult conversation because you're tired. So food should not be something that keeping you away from feel connected to yourself. The opposite. You need to feel more connected to yourself. When you nourish your body with nutrition, with good things, you feel more tuned to yourself, more energized. You are more willing to take good decisions, to listen to your intuition, to do things that you're really passionate about. So diet is a really big thing, and not from the health reasons. I'm talking about more on the reasons that it clears energy to make you think clear and be more tuned to yourself. Thing number three is the quality of the air that you're breathing. If you live in a big city, or in every city, it doesn't have to be a big city. I live in a city, but it's not big. So there is pollution. And specifically now with the global warming and everything, it's everywhere. And looking after the air quality that we have is a big shift, because I can tell you that in my previous apartment, I used to live on the main road, and it was really hard for me the second I woke up to go to the street, because I always felt like everything is polluted. I see all the cars and everything. I really needed to feel like more connected to nature. So one thing that I was doing intuitively back then, and also now I do it, I really try to keep my week or my days balance between being exposed to a lot of air pollution and being exposed more to nature. So I go a lot on walks in the park, in the beach. So I try to very balance the two of, if I know that I have a really busy day, go in the city. And now specifically in Tel Aviv, we have constructions everywhere. So it's really challenging to feel like you have normal air. Everything feels very polluted. So I really try to balance it. And if I know that I have this day, so I know the next day I'll go for a walk in the park in the morning. And I really try to balance it to make sure that my days are not only in the polluted areas. And whether you notice it or not, it really affects our mood and the state of consciousness we have. Another thing is that I know that certain type of the days, like again, when I just wake up, I can be next to nature. I don't mind to go for a walk, but I cannot go on main road. Like it will ruin my entire day. So know the little things and how they impact your day and how they impact your mood. Another thing is that I really try not to take a lot of transportation. I use transportation because I don't drive. I do have driver license, but I don't drive. So many times I walk because I prefer not to use transportation, because also polluted being on main roads. Also, there's a lot of dust and I'm allergic to dust. So I really try to surround myself and like be balanced with how much I'm exposed to air pollution. And I know there's everywhere, but and the amount of time I'm spending in nature. And nature for me, it's park. I know there's cars next to it, but still, it's like the most clean choice I have right now. I really try to balance it intuitively. Number four is sleep. And of course, sleep, it's obvious, but many times we are in a loop of going to sleep very late or sleep low amount of hours. I can tell you about myself that now, like during the last year in university, specifically in the last semester, I had times that I was sleeping 6 hours a night, 5, 4, 7. And I know that I can be effective and work on low hours of sleep, but I will not be the best version of myself. And I know it. So I always try to make sure that I sleep 8 hours every night. And if I have a period of time that I know that I cannot make this commitment of 8 hours and I sleep only 6 or 7. So I know that after this period will end, first of all, I will never do it a long period. It can be like 1 month or like a few weeks. But then I know that I will have a long period of just give my body rest and go back to the natural rhythm. When you're in sync with this natural rhythm, first of all, you will know this by just, feeling that you're really energized all the time. And you will feel that you don't need alarm clock. You just wake up. Your body knows when you need to go to sleep at the same hour, at the same time it wakes up. So it's more easy. And when you have enough sleep, so of course you look better, you feel better, and you're constantly like the amount of sleep is not a factor if you're it's not a factor for your mood. And when you remove the factor of not enough sleep from your mood, you're more connected to yourself eventually, and you can make better decisions, act better, be better, and all of that. Another note, everything that I'm saying is basically like look at yourself as a whole person. And if you remove everything that I'm saying and you like do it intuitively correctly and whatever feels right for you, it's more layers that you remove that get you closer to feel who you truly are. Because feeling truly yourself authentically can be hard. So why trying to make it harder on yourself if you can make it easier? Number 5 is movement. And of course, we know that we need to work out, but I'm talking mainly about the movement, the small movement of, let's say you work the entire day and you sat on your computer and maybe you did the 1 hour, 2 hours workout, but you still sat on your computer the entire day. You didn't move. Movement eventually is the expression of your body. So when you move your body, you let the flow, the creative flow, you let your body basically express itself and be open to receive. When you open your body, you do movements. You can do stretch in the morning a few minutes. You can do a lot of walks. I do a lot of walking. Everything that is movement in your everyday life is your body expresses itself, and you will see, you immediately will start feeling much more connected to yourself because you move every part of your body. You don't move just your head, just your hands, just your legs, every part of it. So again, try to do it intuitively, and it's the importance of how you feel. It puts you in a different state when you move your body and you use your entire body. You can dance, you can just put music, dance in the room, dance in the house, go for a dance class if you don't like to dance. So just stretch your body, do whatever your body tells you it wants. And I'm telling you, when you will be tuned to your body and what it needs, the movement your body needs, you will feel much more connected to yourself. You'll feel more confident. You will feel like you carry your body differently and you show up in the world differently, a better and more confident version of yourself. And how you can do it intuitively. So again, I can tell you that I do a bunch of walks. I try to stretch whenever I feel like my body needs a good stretch. I try to work out a lot. Whenever I'm at home, I don't think I will ever just sit and like do nothing. I'm always like need to walk to do something. I cannot just sit and like do nothing unless like I'm working on my computer. And even when I'm working on my computer, so I'll stretch and do moves and whatever and put music on. I used to sometimes put music in the morning and just dance whenever I wake up. So try to find the little things that will help you. Movement just makes everything better. Number 6 is the temperature of your body. Now we enter to August. These things I usually plan ahead. And when I talk about temperature, I'm talking about acid sound. When you go out and it's too hot, when you go out and it's too cold and you're freezing. When you freeze or when you're too hot and sweaty, it's really hard to feel like you truly tune to yourself. Like it's really, really hard because you have so many distractions of how you feel. And, most of the people cannot just let go and be in the I'm freeze and I'm still present and all of that. You just try to think when it's gonna end, when you're gonna go to the air conditioner or when you're gonna go somewhere more warm. So try to always make sure that you will feel good in where you are in the world and how you feel. So if you're traveling, I always try to make sure that I'm ready for the unexpected temperatures, or I don't know, like I always have something warm, or I always will have something short to wear if it gets really hot outside. So try to make sure that you're really comfortable with the weather. And I know it's such a simple one, but it's really make a huge change when you do it intuitively. Or when I know that I go outside and I'll be outside the entire day and it's really hot now in the summer. So I will always have a cold water bottle in my bag. And if it ends, I will buy or refill. And I'll always try to make sure that I'm keeping myself cool, or I'll try to make sure to not be the entire day outside and sometimes go to places where I can sit in the air conditioner. So try to make sure to always be okay with the body temperature. And it can also go on the clothes you're wearing. We're going to talk about this just in a second, but the clothes that you wear, the materials that you have a huge impact. So really try to match the materials and the weather, because otherwise, you will not feel comfortable. And in order to truly feel authentic and good with yourself, you need to feel comfortable and good and present. And those kind of things, when you do them intuitively, will really help you to, be more connected to yourself. Another thing is when you go to sleep. So make sure you know how you feel the best, like what type of clothes, of materials will make you truly feel free when you go to sleep, and not like there's something stretching. And just always try to make sure that your body temperature feels very calm and like very balanced. Balance, that's the word. Okay, number 7 is materials. We just spoke about this. And materials is something that my mom used to teach me from a really young age, to try to learn the materials and how they impact your body. Every material, everything has frequency, okay? And in today's world that we're living, it's much more cheap to produce materials like polyester. And now there is good polyester that can be good for your body, but eventually going for more natural materials like cotton, like viscose, cashmere will feel better on your body. Now, in today's world, like our our grandparents didn't had this problem because they didn't had so much production of clothes, and because we have so much consumption in today's world, so natural materials become much more rare than synthetic materials, because synthetic materials is you can just produce them, but natural materials, they need to grow, so it's different. So always try to go for the natural materials, and sometimes it can be more expensive, but you can also find really good options in normal stores and in cheap prices too. You just always need to look at the label and the materials. And once you learn what materials are really good for you, and also sometimes there's portion of, it can be like 90% polyester and then 10% of something different. So try to make sure that the materials you wear are feeling really good for you and that they're natural. So every time I see polyester, I just don't buy it unless it's like sportswear or swimwear. So I will buy it probably, but usually when it's clothing, I will not buy it. And I really learn what materials are really good for my body. And also, I learn what type of materials are good for what weather. So, understand the materials that you're wearing will actually have a huge impact on you on your everyday life. It can prevent sweating, it can prevent itchiness, and in general, like everything that we wear, everything that we have in our life holds frequency. So, a material that is more breathing, that is recyclable, that can last for a really long time, you will see that it just feels better on your body. And when you feel better in your own skin, you'll feel more connected to yourself. Number 8 is sounds. And it connected to the first thing that we spoke about, that I told you that I know that in the morning I cannot see light, and I can see sunlight, but I cannot turn on all of the lights in the house. So sound is the same things. Every sound holds frequency. And I really replaced all of my music that I listened in the past decade. So a decade ago, I used to listen to more metal, to hard rock music. Was like my go-to when I was in high school. And I really changed the music that I was listening to because it holds frequency. And I realized intuitively that today I listen mainly to a lot of salsa, to Latin music. I listen to jazz sometimes. I listen to love songs. I love love songs. I love old music, but music that really makes me happy and increase my frequency and energy. And it carries in everything: the alarm clock that you have, the ringtone you have to your phone. When I wake up, I cannot hear loud sounds. I need weather music that I love. I don't mind to listen when I just wake up because it uplifts my energy. But start listening to news in the morning will completely destroy my day. And it doesn't matter if I listen to the sound of to what they're saying, but it's just a frequency. And I cannot walk on main roads when I just wake up because the sound of cars and everything, for me, I'm very sensitive. I feel it and it really contracts my entire body, and I feel less connected to myself, and it gets me like in this angry mode. So know what types of sounds makes you feel good, and also when some kind of sounds are lowering your energy or increasing your energy. Maybe you know that in the morning there is something that every time you listen to this or speak to someone, it lowers your energy. So stop doing this and just notice what makes you feel better at each time of the day. And the last one is media consumption. And again, it's very something that we all know, I feel like, but as I said, we have different layers. Everything that I just spoke about, it's layers that we have. Once we intuitively remove the layers, it will be easier. It's like when I say remove the layers, it's create a habit that you just intuitively know those things, and it will be easier for you to go back to your center, to go back to yourself. So media consumption. So first of all, pay attention to who you're following. If there's people that lowering your energy, so just remove them, mute them, whatever makes you feel good. But everything that we consume eventually really impact the state where we are in. It's not something new. I think we all know this. And also the time of the day when we see this. So probably when we just woke up, which many people do this, go to social media, go to see things, it puts you in a different state of mind. So I like to put my phone on the sleep mode until like 10 a.m., even if I woke up at 6, just because I love to not see the notifications. I don't like to see messages because I prefer to create my own space in the morning where I can put the intentions to feel grounded, to connect to myself. And only when I feel connected to myself to open the window and open the door of media and then start consuming it, it becomes easier for me to go back to my center every single time and feel that I take decisions from the right place, that I'm not following any other thing that I just heard. So really pay attention to when you consume media, to what type of media you consume. And again, as I said, everything is frequency. So the frequency that we're consuming, frequency that we're holding, everything is basically dictates what state you will be in and whether you know how to control it or not. So the whole point is try to increase your frequency constantly, because the more you increase your frequency, the better you will feel, the more connected you will feel to yourself, the more opportunities will come your way, the easier it will be for you to get what you want and receive whatever you ask for. And it will be easier for you to see those opportunities and actually understand intuitively what aligns with you and what's not. Everything we just spoke about is, you can look at this as layers, as something that once you just see them and aware of them, because once you're aware of something, it's there and it's like a compass showing us what way to go. And eventually everything becomes very intuitively. And probably most of the things that I just spoke about, you're maybe feel them, you do them, or maybe you never were aware of them, but you do them already, or don't do them. So once you are aware of them, it's easier to plan your entire everyday around those things naturally without thinking about them. And the whole point here is just basically to try to make it easier on you to feel the best you can ever be. I can tell you about myself that every time that I'm traveling, I love to eat very, very healthy, and I even healthier than I eat in my everyday life. Only because when I travel, I really want to feel like the best version of myself. I know the type of people that traveling and want to try all the food out there. I'm not that type of person. I prefer to eat more healthier just because I want to be more energized when I travel. So those kind of little things, everything that I spoke about is tools that help you to understand if there's something blocking you from feeling yourself, be connected to yourself. And when you remove all the layers, you will see that it will start to be easier for you. I really hope you took something from this episode. And if it's your first time here, so there's plenty of previous episodes you can watch. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel or follow this podcast, I would love to see you here next time. So make sure you are subscribed to this channel or following the podcast so you will get notifications. I post every Tuesday new episode. So thank you for watching. See you next week. Bye.